Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Matt Manning, and I'm the Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction and Multilingual Learner Services. I'm happy to be here joined by Mary O'Sullivan, who is our District Academic Specialist who supports our ALPS program, our GATE program in NVUSD. So we're happy to provide an overview, some information to all of you. This session is specifically designed for families whose students have just qualified as having an ALPS designation. So we want to share some information with you about the program and our approach to supporting our advanced learners in NVUSD, and then have an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you might have. So we'll go ahead and begin with our, let's see, here we go, with just sort of a definition of what the advanced learner programs and services are in NVUSD. So typically, you might hear of a program, a gifted and talented education program, a GATE program. So we are very specifically calling our program in NVUSD Advanced Learner Programs and Services. And the reason that we do that is because we want to take a very inclusive approach to supporting the needs of all learners at all levels in NVUSD in our schools. So we are focused on identifying students who are advanced learners in third grade. And then we provide resources and services to families and schools to support students who may need a differentiated approach to their educational needs, and who may have some other needs that come up related to their advanced learner status. So we know sometimes students who are learning at advanced levels may need, in addition to some of the educational support, may need some social emotional support and resources. So we're able to work with schools and partner with schools to provide those supports as needed. And then we also are very intentional about ensuring that the supports that we're providing to our advanced learners are happening within the school day. The focus of the work that we're doing with our students who are designated as advanced learners is ensuring that they have their needs met during the school day. In addition to that, we also have opportunities for students in some schools, in some cases, to have opportunities outside of the school day to work with a teacher who might be supporting them in a different way outside of school. But the primary focus is really on how we're differentiating instruction, which means that we're really working to meet the needs of students across a spectrum of levels during the school day. We also have support that we provide in the form of a student study team. So if there is a student who is significantly advanced in the grade level and working well beyond grade level content, and there's a need to provide some support beyond what can be provided at the school or at the classroom level, then that's where we, or Mary or I, might come in, meet with the parents, meet with the school to determine what is there some modifications to this student's educational program that we can provide to better meet the student's needs. So that's our approach to supporting advanced learners in NVUSD. So again, what we aspire to and what we value is that we want to meet the needs of all students in an inclusive way throughout the school day. So it's not about just having an opportunity for students to do something special or extra after school or on the weekend or outside of school. Really, we want to make sure that our students' needs and that they're engaged and interested in their learning throughout the school day. So we provide support and educational opportunities for teachers and parents to ensure that we're able to really support and best meet the needs of our students. And we do that through an equity focus, really wanting to ensure that we're not excluding students. We'll talk in a little bit about the assessment that we use, the COGAT assessment, the Cognitive Abilities Test, to qualify students as advanced learners. But we also look at multiple measures, multiple ways for students to qualify for supports and services. We don't exclude students who might be advanced learners, but didn't necessarily qualify through that assessment. So we want to support all students. And this is all about really leveraging students' strengths and passions, wanting to make sure that they're engaged in their learning, and that we know what their strengths and know what their passions are, and that we can find ways to build that into their educational experience with us. So we'll talk to you a little bit more about our primary tool for that, which is Renzulli Learning. Mary will speak to you a little bit more about that, and then you'll learn more about that as your students become more more enmeshed and they move through the grade levels in elementary, and have access to the advanced learner supports and services. So again, just to speak to the way that students qualify is through the cognitive abilities test, what we call the COGAT assessment. And there's three ways that students can qualify, three different areas that are assessed. There's a verbal battery of assessments, a quantitative battery, and then a nonverbal battery. So there's three different ways that we look at students' strengths that are not only about language. And the reason that we use the COGAT is because it's very well known and respected in the field, and because we're able to see students' strengths in different areas. It's not just it's not just language, but their ability to manipulate shapes, their ability to engage with numbers. So it's not only through language, and that's really important to us, that there's multiple ways that students are able that we're able to measure and capture students' strengths. So we thought it would be sort of helpful to just provide you a window into some of the questions types that are on the COGAT, and these are all available. They're public, available for anyone to view. So this is the first example here is a verbal analogies. So you can see that students are asked to make those comparisons. Salt is to pepper as black is to, and then obviously the answer here would be white. And then we have another example. This is sentence completion. So the students have to complete this sentence with the correct word. So these are the language-based ways in which students can qualify and demonstrate their strengths. And this is another language, the verbal classification. So students are looking here at categories of words, 3 words, and then determining sort of what those words have in common. So how they would categorize those 3 words. So in this case, tire, wheel, handlebars, the student would select bike. And then we move into numbers, and we have number analogies that students are looking at, and they're finding the commonality, they're finding the pattern in these numbers, and they're determining what the next number would be in this sequence, in this comparison of numbers. And then we have again sample question here where the students are again looking at making comparisons and number puzzles and making decisions about the numbers that would best fit into each of these equations. Here's another number series. So this is a very simple pattern, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So this is an example of a pretty simple pattern, but obviously those patterns would increase in complexity as students move through the assessment. And then we move into this category of figure analogy. So again, completely removing numbers and verbal, anything language-based here. And students are really just looking at the shapes and how these figures connect and how those come together. So this is the non-language, non-numeracy based element of the assessment. And here we have paper folding. So this is where students are asked to look at this mirror image and make and fold and visualize in their minds how a paper would need to be folded in order to create what's above in the example. We have figure classification. This is where students are asked to look at these shapes above the dotted line and then determine what shape is connected with those shapes above. So those are just a really brief window into some of the assessment questions. And again, as I mentioned, those are rather simple, the simple versions, and then those increase in complexity as the students move through the assessment. So that's the primary tool that we use for assessing students. And once the students have completed, there are 9 subtests that they complete. And then they can score in the advanced range in any one of those, and they would qualify as an ALPS student, as an advanced learner. So that's how one way that students qualify, the primary way that students qualify. And so once the students have qualified, that's where we step in with supports and services and for families. And so I'm going to toss to Mary, who's going to talk to you about some of those supports and services and the ways we support students.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk just for a little while about some of the different areas and the different ways that we support students in the classroom. One of the things that all teachers have access to in our district are proficiency scales, and there's a small picture here of part of a third grade reading proficiency scale. And these allow teachers to really look carefully at what students who are working at grade level and above are able to do in ways that we can enrich and challenge them. And we have these for every standard in ELA and math that teachers do have access to and reference as they're planning for students. All right. On the next slide, we'll see some of the supports that we have in ELA. The curricular resource that we use for reading is Benchmark. And Benchmark has a lot of really rich and excellent pieces in to support our ALPS students. The leveled readers within the program give teachers an opportunity to share a text on the same topic that the whole class is reading at a much more difficult level with harder vocabulary, more challenging phonics and spelling pieces. So there's a lot of really good opportunities within the program for teachers to differentiate for our advanced learners. The writing piece in the program is also very rigorous and gives students an opportunity to do a lot of comparison and explaining their thinking. And the Writer's Universe piece that's mentioned here is an independent writing project opportunity that begins in second grade that teachers have access to that they can use with some of the advanced learners in their classrooms. Our next, let's see. So we also have the choice boards for ALPS. These go between math and reading. They also include science and social studies topics. These are a way that teachers can provide extra work for students that are early finishers or need a little bit of a challenge, or if they've already shown mastery at a certain skill that they are teaching in class. This is something that teachers can give students, and they're for each of the grade levels, third, fourth, and fifth grade. And there's several that teachers can choose from throughout the year that are created. And different teachers across the district use these in different ways. But this is another thing that you may hear or see some of your advanced learner students talking about. The next thing we have here is math. And the program that we use for math is called Bridges, which you may be familiar with. And the lessons in Bridges include, if you can go, there we go, thank you.
Sorry, the slides were advancing.
That's okay. Our Bridges lessons include a lot of tasks that are low floor and high ceiling. And what we mean by that is there's an entry point for all students, no matter what level they're working at, to be able to access the math. Some of these are problem-solving tasks with problem strings. They are class discussions, and we'll look at one in a moment with quadrilaterals, where the teacher would show the class some visuals and just have a conversation. And these tasks allow the teacher to let students, talk about and bring up all the things that they already know. And it gives teachers a really nice way to informally assess where their students are, and especially for our advanced learners, gives them an opportunity to show what they know so the teacher is able to continue challenging and give them a little bit more challenge as they plan the unit. On the next slide, we will see an example of what this looks like in third grade in one of the units when they're working on geometry. This is the visual the teacher would share and invite the class to think, these are rectangles, these are not rectangles. If you know that all quadrilaterals have four sides and four corners, what makes a rectangle special? And then the students would be able to think, talk with partners, and then have that class discussion. which there's some very simple ways that we could look at the not rectangles and know, well, that one has a curved side, so it's obviously not. But then it gets a little bit more nuanced as the students are able to say, well, this is a trapezoid. It does have four sides, but these are the reasons that it's not a rectangle. So some really great conversations come out of this. Another thing that we have as a support for our advanced learners is Dreambox, which is a program that all of our students use in elementary school. And it is an adaptive program. So for students that are working at a higher level, and maybe if they're in third grade and they have really shown mastery of all those third grade standards, the program adapts and gives them an opportunity to work at fourth or fifth grade level, whatever is appropriate and what they're ready for. There are problem solving tasks and games in the program that make it fun and challenging for the kids. So they seem to really love it. All right. A new part of the Bridges program that we've added this year with our updated third edition of the curriculum is called Concept Quests. And these begin at kindergarten and go all the way through fifth grade. And there's one concept quest packet that goes with each unit. So these are extension activities that are working on the same skills and standards that the whole class would be working on during that unit, but they allow our advanced learners to apply those skills that they're learning in a different way with some deeper story problems that makes them really go through multiple steps or think about the math in a way that maybe they haven't before. Some of them are puzzles, some of them look like games, and the students get the map that you see there on the left, and they can kind of choose their own adventure with a fun little map and quests. And I've heard great things from teachers and students that are using these so far this year. So we're excited to offer this as another opportunity for our advanced learners. The other special piece that Matt mentioned earlier that we use is Renzulli Learning. And this is a computer program that students have access to once they're identified as advanced learners. And when they first log into Renzulli and get access, they are given a profiler, which takes a little bit of time for the students. And it really is just a very carefully put together questionnaire for the students, and it identifies interests that they may have. It asks questions about learning style, their expression style. Would you rather write a paper or, write a play and perform that to show what you've learned? So once the students answer all those questions, the program adapts to their individual interest and learning styles. So no two students' experience on Renzulli will be exactly the same. The next slide shows kind of what their landing page will look like once they do that. Up at the top, you'll see there's a home, an inbox where they can send messages with their teacher, calendar to help organize some of projects and things like that they're working on. The journal is a really nice piece that's part of Renzulli. The students are able to put tasks in there that the teacher gives them. The teacher may assign them an extra journal entry based on what they're reading in class to compare to text or explain, a character's motivation, something that would be a little bit more challenging for the advanced learner students. Another thing that you'll see there on that second bar at the top is My Projects. And this is an area in the program that students can organize notes and writing and resources and start to learn about citations when they're working on projects. And it kind of collects and organizes everything for them and allows them to access the research and articles that they can access through Renzulli. There are games and all sorts of things. Once your students get through the profile, it might be a lot of fun for you to sit down with them and look through the site. And we'll be having, I'll talk about it a little bit later, a parent session later in the school year so that you can learn a little bit more about Renzulli as well. Your students are able to use this at home. So that's something that if they wish to do, they're able to. It's not a requirement, but they are able to access it when they're at home as well. And the focus of the Renzulli and all of these other things that we've talked about really gets to the personalized learning. Each of our ALPS students has different skills and strengths, and we want to make sure that we're differentiating and providing opportunities for those students in the areas that they need them. And as I mentioned, I don't have a date just yet. That's still in the works to get finalized. You will receive a parent square with a date and time of that virtual workshop as soon as we get it on the calendar. We also have each spring an ALPS showcase night for student projects. And our fourth and fifth grade ALPS students generally all really enjoy doing this. Third grade students and new to ALPS students, if you've just been identified and joining the program now, some students are really gung-ho and would like to join in and do a project. If they're not ready yet this year and they're like, I want to go see what it's like, you are welcome to come and experience the evening, look at the other students' projects, and get excited about next year. You are welcome to ask your child's teacher more about this if you have questions. But we will have for the Napa schools, we will have our showcase night on May 13th. It will be at New Tech High School. Students will set up projects throughout the main area of the school and just be able to walk around and look at everyone else's wonderful work that they're showing off. The American Canyon schools will have their showcase night on May 20th at Canyon Oaks Elementary School in their multipurpose room with the same setup. Projects will be around and everybody will just be able to roam and learn from the students. Students create projects on a variety of topics, whatever is of interest to them. They will be getting a little bit more guidance in the next week or so from their teachers and the ALPS lead at their school. And here, Matt, Mr. Manning, myself, and Fabiola are three contacts that you are welcome to reach out to. You can reach us at the email alps@nvusd.org. And on the next slide, you'll see the schools with each ALPS lead at that school. For many of the schools, it is a teacher. There's two schools where the principal will be your contact, which I've noted. So if you want to go ahead and jot down the name of that person and their email, if you have questions, that would be your first point of contact after your child's teacher.
Thank you, Marion. While you're all looking at that list, and we'll post this recording online as well and share this with families just so you have that if you're not able to write that down right now. But I did also just want to mention with Renzulli, not all of the projects and the way that students engage with that, not all of those are online. Some are. Some are the students are engaging online and doing research that way. Others are the students are just the directions and the prompts are within Renzulli online, but the rest of the work that students are doing are offline, hands off, avoiding screen time. I know that comes up as a question sometimes with parents, and so we do have opportunities for students to engage digitally, and also there are projects that are completely screen free within Renzulli. Okay, so that's what we have to present in our overview for this evening.